Eva, and I'm with New Cook. Today I'm going to be making a brown rice salad. Brown rice can be a little tricky for home cooks because, well, it takes a long time to cook and sometimes it doesn't cook that evenly, and I've got a great method for cooking brown rice that I think you're going to love. So there's two ways of making rice. There's the absorption method, which is sort of that traditional method where you measure your rice, you measure your water, you cover the lid, everything gets absorbed. And then there's this method, which is more like a pasta method, where you just bring a large pot of water to a boil, add a little salt, and you cook your grains. One thing that's good about doing this with brown rice is that all the grains get cooked at the same time very evenly. In the absorption method, some grains absorb all that water in the initial part of the boiling, and with evaporation, you end up with not enough liquid and it's just uneven cooking. So you have some grains that are overcooked, some grains that are undercooked, and this is a great way of getting all your grains to cook evenly. And it's actually a really great way of cooking brown rice for salads too, because you like them nice and fluffy and separate. So I put my rice in my boiling water, and I'm gonna put a couple teaspoons of salt. And it's really important to do this. It's like salting your pasta water. It's very, very, very hard to really thoroughly season your rice after the fact. So it's nice to get some layering that seasoning in. So get some up front while the rice is cooking. While this is cooking, we're going to prep our ingredients for the salad. And this salad doesn't have a lot of ingredients, but the flavor combination is pretty special. You've got sweet dates and kind of nutty, salty pistachios. We're using a citrus dressing with lemon juice and orange juice, olive oil, and the secret ingredient, or magic ingredient to me, is like cinnamon. I don't think a lot of people think of cinnamon in salads, but it really, really is lovely. So I'm going to set my timer. The water's come to a boil. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to zest our orange, and I've got a rasp grater here, and I love to zest my citrus directly in the bowl, or whatever I'm going to be using it with, rather than putting it into a measuring cup or a measuring spoon or your cutting board and then putting it in, because you're losing all those delicious oils. So we're going to make our dressing right in here, and in goes the citrus, and I'm just going to get all the zest from this orange, but I don't want to go back and forth too many times because I don't want to get to the white part, the pith of the orange. I just want to get the bit on the outer. But now I've cut my orange open, and I'm going to get the juice out. I'm going to use some of the juice, and if you don't have a reamer or a juicer, you can always just use a pair of tongs. You need about 2 tablespoons of juice. Should do it. Alright, that's just a bit of it. And we have some lemon juice here. And I have a little lemon juice that I'm holding out that I'm going to pour over the cooling rice when it comes out. I find that adding some of the acid to the rice helps it absorb some of the flavors. Okay, we need a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a half a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of pepper. And we're going to whisk in a 1/4 cup of olive oil. All right, pretty simple. I'm going to cut my dates, chop up my dates. Dates are pretty sticky, so rather than just sort of kind of randomly chopping it and having everything kind of stick to the knife, I sort of slice them into strips and then go across the strips into dice. So now I'm chopping my pistachios, and I'm not going to go crazy getting them too fine. I like having little chunky bits of nuts. All right, I have three scallions. The recipe calls for 4, but these are very, very beefy, meaty, chunky scallions. So 3 is going to be plenty. Just going to take off sort of the not so nice bits on the sides, and then I'll trim off the tips, and then I'll trim off edges. And I'm going to use both the white and the green. One thing I want to say while I'm doing this about cooking your rice and grains. You could do this with farro. You could do it with all hard grains that take a long time to cook. You know, this method shaves about 25 minutes off of the traditional stovetop absorption method. So 25 minutes versus maybe 40 minutes if you were to do it the other way. And same with the other long hard grains. It sort of speeds up the cooking. And it's a great way for you to also think about bulk batch cooking. So I have a cup and a half of rice in here for my salad. Well, you could do 3 cups of rice and save the other bit for another recipe. Put them in little plastic bags, put them in your freezer, throw them in a salad, have something ready if you want to have a fried rice. I make fried rice a couple times a week with all the leftovers in my refrigerator, including, it's great to have some leftover rice to start with. Okay, so I'm going to put this in my dressing. And now my parsley. This you could use mint, you could use cilantro. This is a pretty versatile salad. Instead of the dates, I could use apricots, I could use raisins, I could use dried cranberries, I could be using any nut, so you could change up the flavors of the dressing. So I just drained my rice, and I'm going to spread it on a baking sheet, a rimmed baking sheet, and the reason why I'm spraying it out is that it will speed up the cooling time, but it will also make sure that all the grains cool evenly. So the rice has chilled. I'm going to now put it in my dressing. And I'm going to toss in my dates, which are really sticky, so they might need a little help breaking them up. My pistachios. Stir it all together. You could use a combination of other grains and make this into a grain salad. You could cook some farro, some white rice, some barley, quinoa. Combine variations of those together to make a grain salad and eat. It's delicious. So I'm just going to taste it for seasoning. Really good. Really, really good. A little salt. It's citrusy, it's a little sweet, it's a little salty. Delicious. And the scallions, there's a lot of scallions in there, but it really is, you really kind of need it to cut through the citrus and the sweetness from the dates. Anyway, here it is. Hope you enjoy it.